What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another WNBA video. We have a 3-game slate for Wednesday, July 30th. And if you're new to the channel, typically I'd break down each of those games. We talk about which way that I was leaning as far as the points and the spread. Today, we're going to do it just a little bit differently, man. I'm just going to go over my favorite 4 plays on the day. We're going to break those down and talk about those. But before we do that, we got to jump over there to the Guy Boston Sports website. Let's recap our plays from not only yesterday, but Monday as well. Let's see what we took then and how that ended up going down. And we had a good day Monday following up that Sunday sweep. We go 2-1, took the Wings plus 8.5 when we cash, and then we took Paige Beckers and Sabrina Ionescu on a same game parlay, both to score 15 plus points and they cash. And then we took the Storm and the Sun, a total under 160.5. And this one we do not cash, man. They came out to play, right? Both of them put up a ton of points. They hit over 100 in the first half, so we knew that we weren't going to get close to this one, man. But then on Tuesday, it's got some more bad luck, man. 0-2 on the day. Derek Hamby over 23.5 points plus rebounds. She had hit on this at a 100% rate over her last 5, 6 times in a row against the Aces, her former team, who there's definitely some bad blood there still. She looked good in the first half. But she can't get us there in the second half, so we get that X, man. And then the Sky plus 8.5 really was never close. They had some moments in the first half where they could keep it, they were kind of keeping within the range, right? But the Mystics pull away there at the end of that, or in the second half of that one. And it's one of them games, man, I'm not going to lie to you guys, where I turned it on and I'm like, I want to see the Mystics win by, 8.5 or more. Like, I want to see this Mystics team blow the Sky out. I like this Mystics team, right? And then once Sony gets going, man, I'm like, I'm rooting for the Mystics. I don't care about my bet anymore. And sometimes it's like that, you know what I mean? But with that said, we do want to get back on the profitable side of things. Let's roll that Monday energy into this video, man. Let's take Tuesday and let's leave that on Tuesday. So, guys, smash that like button down there for me if you can. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's go ahead and jump over to Outlier. We're going to break down this first play. And first up, I'm going to be looking at Aaliyah Boston of the Fever, looking at that Mercury and Fever game. It tips off at 7 p.m. I'm looking at her assist over 3.5. You can get that for a good price right now, minus 115 at DraftKings and BetMGM. Paying some juice elsewhere, man, but still some good prices right there on those two books. You can look at her in her last 5. She's hitting at an 80% rate, 4 of her last 5. And that one she didn't hit lands right there on the hook at 3. You can push it back, man, and just go a little bit further in. Last 10, and she's still hitting at a consistent rate, 60%, averaging 4.5 assists per game in those games there for her last 20, even, hitting at a 55% rate. So the number starts dropping down, but we're still in the green where we want to be. If we look at her head to head, she's hit at a 100% rate in her last 3 games against these Mercury. Now, these were all last year. Keep that in mind. And we can look at her on the course of the season. She's hitting at, above 50%, 56%, averaging just under 4 assists per game, 15 of the 27 games she's played, right? So it's not like it's great numbers here. But one thing I want to highlight is let's look at her without Caitlin Clark on the floor because, most likely Caitlin Clark's not going to be out there with that groin injury. And we can see those numbers get a lot better, sitting at 71% on the season, 10 out of 14 games, right? And 2 of those 4 losses, or 2 of those 4 that came under anyways, were on the hook as well. So yeah, like I said, Aaliyah Boston over 3.5 assists, and for a good price, minus 115 over there at DraftKings and BetMGM. And I'd also be looking at Alyssa Thomas, her rebounds and assists. Let's look at her in her last 5 games. We need her to get over 16.5. That's also for a good price right now as well, minus 114 over there at FanDuel. But we can look at her in her last 5, hitting at an 80% rate for her last 5 games, averaging 18.2 rebounds and assists in those 5. And you push it back into her last 10, 18.5 rebounds and assists per game, hitting at a 70% rate, 7 out of 10 times. Head to head against these Fevers, she's hit at a 83% rate, 5 of her last 6 games. That's dating back into last season. Now that is her with the Connecticut Sun, but this is still the same AT, so I don't think that that matters too much. She still plays the same way. She's still that same triple-double threat that she's been, when she was with the Sun. She's still that with the Phoenix Mercury. It's not like anything's changed here. We can also see this insight from Outlier. She has exceeded 16.5 rebounds and assists in 8 of her last 10 games on the road for an 80% hit rate, 17.7 rebounds and assists per game on average in those 10. So it's another one I like, guys. Over 16.5 rebounds and assists for Alyssa Thomas, minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, this next one, I'm looking at the Minnesota Lynx, the New York Liberty. I'm looking at the Lynx on the spread, but I'm hesitant. And I'm not hesitant because I don't think the Lynx are going to win this game, because I do. I do. There's a major revenge factor in this one, dating back to, let's look at this head to head real quick. Dating back to last year, right? These two tipped off in the NBA, the WNBA finals. And Yeah, if you watch that, you know that this one went the full distance. It was a best of 5 series. It went all 5 games. In that last game, a 67-62 New York Liberty win, that the Lynx really feel were heavily manipulated by some bad calls at the end of that game. So they definitely have a lot of bad blood and bad taste in their mouth. And that's not to say that they hate this New York Liberty team. There's a mutual respect between these two teams, and it's always fun to watch them go up against each other. But to say they don't want to come out here and for a lack of better terms, kick their ass is that's just not the case. Minnesota would want nothing less than that. So I think we see their full effort, the best performance that we've seen from Minnesota this season here in this one. I'd be surprised otherwise, guys. But the thing that has me hesitant to lay 7.5 is the status right here of Breanna Stewart. Game time decision. She did hurt her leg a few games back. She missed the last game out. I don't think she's going to be in this one, but it's just the case with the injury report this year with the WNBA. I don't remember it being this bad last year, but everything's a game time decision. That's what it always is. Game time decision, and you can't ever find out like until a few hours before if they're even questionable or probable or doubtful. And that's even like kind of 50% of the time that you even get that information. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's game time decision up until about maybe an hour or less before tip off. That's game time, man. We're an hour or less before tip off is game time. So I don't know. It's weird that we can't get any information on these star players, especially. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was watching a video the other day talking about it, how maybe it's because ticket prices, things like that. They're scared to announce these players out. The WNBA as a whole, they're just scared to announce them as out ahead of time for ticket prices plummeting, viewership ratings, all that jazz. And I understand that, but you also have a big world of us out here that's sports betting. And if you want to keep our eyes on this league, man, I love this league and I love betting on it, but this is frustrating. This is frustrating. So kind of a ramble there. I'm sorry about that. A little bit of a rant on a video where I tell you we're gonna keep it short and sweet, right? Gonna be looking at the links, like I said, man. I would lay the 7.5 if Stewart's out. I would, and that plus money right here, you gotta love it, man. It's so tempting to take. No vig. So usually that book that if the odds are low everywhere else, man, no vig's got a plus money for you. Um, but this is one of them games where it's like I'm also tempted to start looking at an alternate, right? A 4.5, maybe a 5.5, because if Stewie's out there, this one's gonna be closer. But that's the thing too, is if we look at that, then we're paying some juice, right? So why not just wait? Why not just wait? And that's kind of where I feel with this one is I like the links. I want to be on the link side. That's the side that I feel is the right side here in this one. Um, and they're playing better basketball coming into this game. That can't be denied. But yeah, it's just kind of a matter of like, is Stewie in? If Stewie's in, then we want to get that at that 4.5, 5.5 range most likely. But that price is going to come down. So wait, you know what I mean? But if she's not in, um, man, that's where it's kind of like, do we want to take that risk now and put it in at 7.5? Because I think they clear that number pretty easily if Stewie's not in there. So that's what we got to figure out, guys. As always, make sure you check down there into the pin comment. I'll put a link down there that's going to have my final plays as I put those in, and we'll see which way we end up rolling with this one here. That is going to wrap it up, guys. I will look over some things some more. If I find anything else that I like, I will add that into the final plays on the Guy Boston Sports website. But as of now, these are the 3 plays that I am looking at. And that's going to do it, man. Hope you guys all have a great night. Hope you guys all cash out. And I'll see you back tomorrow for the next one.